guys, we are going to talk about the four axioms of utility theory. So, when we say utility theory, we what do we mean by that? We mean a satisfaction which we receive by consuming some goods or services. Maybe I go to big bazaar and I get some services, some the way they present their goods, the way they sell their goods. I like those services, right? And I get some kind of satisfaction. So I go big bazaar again, and I prefer going to big bazaar than any other um, shopping grocery joint maybe. So because I'm getting some kind of satisfaction there, I'm drawing some kind of utility in big bazaar, right? So similarly, I eat something. Maybe I eat apple, and I like apple. And the kind of utility I get from apple, kind of satisfaction I get from apple is something which something is a reason, uh, which is why I always prefer to eat apple among fruits. So, and somebody gives me banana and says, okay, this is also the fruit, this is also sweet. Why don't you like this? But I don't like this. That's my personal preference. And when the reason I don't like it, uh, because I don't like it, that is the reason I get more utility from apple than banana, because my utility is more from apple. Now, consider a situation where I eat apple one day, I eat apple the second day, I eat apple the third day, I eat apple fourth day, eat apple fifth day. Fifth day, probably my level of satisfaction, my level of happiness would not be that much in eating apple as it was in the fourth day, because I'm continuously eating apple. I'm getting bored of eating apple. I eat the apple again sixth day, seventh day, eighth day, ninth day, till I reach to 30th day. I'll probably start hating apple. I won't eat apple anymore. So my level of satisfaction has reduced, um, or you can say marginal utility is reducing with every apple. So by 30th apple, I would probably prefer banana than apple. So my utility has reduced in eating apple, and my comparative utility of banana has is now more than my utility of apple. So that's how we determine utility. So it basically depends on the particular circumstances of the person, uh, personal preference of a person, and it is consistent. So if I'm after 1 month, in the previous example, and after 1 month, if I have started hating apple and I prefer banana, so in maybe during that duration, I'll always prefer banana, because during that duration I have started hating apple. I have eaten apple so much that I don't like apple anymore. So during that duration, I'll always prefer banana over apple during that duration, right? So now, whenever people take decisions, they have different options. I have option of going to big bazaar. I have option to going to easy day and any other joint, but I always try to go to big bazaar, because that is where my utility is. Basically, I maximize my utility uh, when I go to big bazaar, right? So whenever I decide among two three different options, I always assess that where in which option my utility is maximized. So I basically compare the expected utility coming out of those different options. So for example, the happiness I get in going to big bazaar, happiness I going to easy day, happiness I get in going to some local joint. I compare all these happinesses, and I derive a conclusion that going to big bazaar gives me the maximum happiness, maximum utility. I'll go to big bazaar, right? So now, how to calculate utility? So uh, if I have to calculate maximum utility, I'll take the output coming from different options, and my utility coming from those outputs. I do the weighted sum of those utility coming of different output from different options, and I'll multiply them by the respective probabilities of those output, right? So now, for example, I can go to have coffee in cafe coffee day uh, in north direction, half kilometer from here. I can go to uh, barista in the south direction, again half kilometer from here. I can go to some local coffee joint in the east direction, again 1 kilometer from here, and I take that I calculate how much happiness I'm going to get when I go to barista. Then again, how much happiness I'm going to get when I go to cafe coffee day and the local joint again. Third one. So I assume I come to conclusion going to big bazaar gives me the maximum happiness. So that's my maximum utility. When I say happiness, it's like the taste, the experience, the cost. It includes everything. So that's how I calculate. It's a combination of everything. So now, cafe coffee day, local joint and barista. I prefer going to barista. I take the utility part. Then I take the probability that what is the probability of that output. But if I go to barista and, just for example, I get the coffee. Maybe barista is closed. Maybe barista doesn't serve coffee anymore. Maybe they don't want to serve at that time. Anything. So I'll probably take the probability of getting the coffee. I'll multiply that. Again, I do the same with cafe coffee day option. Take my utility, take the probability of getting the coffee, and multiply that. Same with local join and do the total. So that's how we calculate the maximum expected utility I'm going to get with the depending on the what probability what is the probability of going to that place, what is the probability of going to that place, and what is the utility. Now I just say it in a different way as well, so that the understanding is clear. It's basically what is expected out of a particular action, considering the probability of success with that option and utility with that option. Utilities I'm going to get with that option. So they can be three output. Probability of that output is this, that output is this, that output is 50% chances. The output one, what is the utility? Okay, that is my utility if option one is output one comes out. 25% chance output two will come. What is the utility? That is my probability output two will come out. So I'm just totaling it. I'm just based on different probability of outputs. I'm just getting the utilities for those outputs and just totaling it after multiplying it. So that's how we do it. I'll tell you the formula as well at the end of this video. Now, how do we compare utility with price? Price is something which is based on the characteristics and properties of maybe cost of a certain product or service. Utility is something which is dependent upon the certain situation, certain circumstances of a person. So, as I give the example of apple and banana. So, assume apple, the price of the apple is 10, and the price of banana is also 10. Now, I like apple. The starting of the month, I like apple. The price is 10. The price of banana is also 10. But I like apple. Price is same, but my utility with apple is more because I like apple more. Right? Maybe I like something about the taste of the apple more than banana. Right? That's my personal preference. Right? So I derive more utility from apple than banana. After 1 month. After 1 month of eating apple, now I like banana more. Again, the cost is same. Both the cost for both is price for both is 10. But now I like banana more. The point is my personal preference has changed. Why my personal preference has changed? Because of the circumstances. Because of the reason I'm able to get apple for last month. I'm able to eat. I'm getting only apple. I'm getting only apple to eat for last 1 month. So my personal preference has changed, right? Because I'm eating continuously. I'm eating apple for last. So now again the price is same, but I like banana more because I derive more utility from banana than apple. The situation has reversed. So now utility depends upon the personal preference and circumstances of a person, but price depends only on the characteristics of some certain thing or service, whatever. Now we have four, as I discussed, we have four axioms of utility theory, and we assume that a person who is taking a rational decision, who is normal as per uh, who's pragmatic, who's practical, who's normal as per practical word, and he takes into consideration these axioms. And if he's taking into consideration these axioms, he is rational and he's taking rational decision. That's what we assume. Let's discuss the axioms. So first axiom is completeness. What is completeness? Completeness says that individuals have well-defined preferences, so they know what they like and they are sure about it. There is no confusion about it. So I have in the starting of the month I have apple and a banana, and I know that I like apple more. And after a month again I have apple and banana, and I know I will like banana more. So there is no confusion about it, right? At certain situation, at certain time, I know what is my preference among among different options maybe. So if I have apple and banana, I know I like apple more in the starting of the month, and again the end of the month, banana. I like banana. Now transitivity. That was completeness. Now this is transitivity. What is transitivity? Transitivity again says that yes, people follow completeness, this rule of completeness, and they follow it consistently. So anybody can derive. Once I know that okay, your preference is apple, I can derive um, at that particular time and in those particular circumstances, I know that your preference is apple, and I know it will be apple till those circumstances exist. I know there must be apple or maybe banana, whatever. So, for example, let's give an example. I like apple more than banana, and I like banana more than cherry. So now I have if I have apple and banana, I would prefer apple. And I'm talking about the start of the month. I would take apple. If I have banana and cherry, I would take banana. If I have apple and cherry, I'll take apple. So it's very consistent, you know. If I like apple more than banana, banana more than cherry, so I will always like apple more than cherry. That's very consistent at particular time in particular circumstance. So in the end of the month, if I like banana more than apple and apple more than cherry, so I'll always like banana more than cherry. It's always consistent, right? And those particular circumstances, right? So now uh, the third exam is independence, right? So what is independence now? Now independence is basically when we say that uh, we have well-defined preferences, and if maybe we add another option. So in those uh, different preferences or different options in equal amount, I would always the preference would remain the same. So apple banana again. I have three. I like apple more than banana. I take half cherry and I give you the preference apple plus half cherry. Another option banana plus half cherry. What will you like? So if you like apple more than banana and you have cherry both sides, equal cherry both sides, you'll always like apple again. You'll always like apple again, right? So again, the preferences are independent of any other equal addition, basically. So it means it's additive, and if we add equal proportion of the third option, it won't affect the preference. Now the fourth axiom is continuity. Now continuity, when I say continuity, what is continuity? Continuity is when I say continuity, I assume a indifference curve. So there's an indifference curve. Assume there's an indifference curve, and there are different options in there in those indifference curve. Assume there's an indifference curve. Just don't go on the shape of the curve. So I have these three options maybe. So it says this is continuous. So all the options, first of all, they are continuous. They're uh, synchronized. They are symmetrical. And if I like this, maybe this is A. If I like A more than B, sorry, B is bigger, and B more than C, I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. If this is indifference curve. So if I like A, then B, I C, and the utility is same. There's nothing like A more than B or B more than C. I'm really sorry about it. So I like A, I like B, I like C, and I derive same utility from these three, all these three, A, B, C, right? So there must be some combination of A and C which would be equal to B, right? There would be some combination of A and C which would be equal to B. So that's it. That's like I mean to say this is symmetrical. So if I add some proportion of A, some proportion of C, it would be equal to. There will be some of these proportions which would equate it to B, utility derived from B. So this happens because this is symmetrical. So that's continuity. Now let's go to calculation of utility, which we discussed in the first slide as well. Now if I have X alternatives, if I have possible outcomes, if I have X possible outcomes, and the utility derived from them is ux, which you say here, which you see here, right? This is the utility, and the subjective probability of px is probability of x. The subjective probability is px. So I'll just multiply utility of x to probability of x, and I'll sum all the possible outcomes. Basically, xi is one possible outcome. Maybe xj is another possible outcome. So again, utility for xj and probability for xj. So I'll write. That's if I have xj, the again uh, the stigma identifies that this j is changing again. So xi again, um, xj, xk. I'll keep replacing this and keep adding the combination of this multiplication of utility and probability for respective x's, xj, xi, whatever. So that's it for this. Uh, Please give the feedback so that I can improve uh, the recordings for other classes. Thank you.